I thought it would be great to get you on tonight. Obviously, today at 6 o'clock, we launched a video that Carla and Bonner and myself did. Carla's an amazing ambassador for what you guys are doing. Do you want to just discuss what happened with that?
Yes, I do. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Carla very much for doing that. And, you know, one of the things that's important for people to understand is that the contaminated blood scandal has thousands of victims, you know, in Australia. And those victims are those infected, but they're survivors, and there's those who are affected. And Carla's one of those. Carla lost her father to a tainted blood transfusion in 1986. Now, I've got to tell you this, really, what someone does for a job or anything like that really makes not too much difference to us, to those of us who are victims, and certainly to those of us who are affected and those of us who've lost loved ones, because you've woken up into a whole different world. It's a whole different universe. Your old life is not quite the same. It just isn't. And so, you know, like to lose your father in that way, and then, you know, for what some people might see someone like myself as a troublemaker, and sometimes the information that I've brought forward has made people sad, and I didn't intend for that to happen. My intention has been to expose what I've known for 30 years, really, that there was something that happened down here that was very, very bad. It's actually Australia's deadliest medical scandal. You know, they've had, so a lot of people died, and it's a cover-up. It is a cover-up. And as
hugely.
it's a massive cover-up. So what's happened is I've been fighting it for decades, and for long periods it's been a fight on my own, and at times. But the problem is that those others, it's the nature of our group, unfortunately. It's a bit like being involved in, you know, like the World War II, our guys fighting the Japanese. A few people don't make it, and that's what's happened with us. Also, we've been hampered by some terrible pharmaceutical drugs that have absolutely killed our group. One of them is called interferon. So not only were a lot of these people tainted blood victims, but they're also victims of pharmaceutical medicines like this interferon, which is like taking chemo for a year or so. And in many cases, it didn't cure people. Well, of course, I wasn't affected by that because I refused to take their garbage. I was lucky enough to have a sort of natural inkling, if you will, that nature was my best friend, certainly after getting my ass kicked by a tainted blood transfusion. So, yeah, I went down that direction. I'm a nature boy, right? But for those people that still had trust in the system, and there are a lot of them, and they did, they got badly re-injured again. And so what's happened is that we've had an overwhelming response because of your interviews, Matt. You've had myself, where we sort of launched this as a subject in Australia again. You basically breathed life into it. And then you had, you know, the leader of our haemophilia campaign, Greg Ball, who's got the ballsiest, most courageous man I've ever come across. I'm not just saying that. I actually mean it with full sincerity, because he is. And people will find out in the fullness of time what I mean about that. I actually asked Greg to help out because we're getting overwhelmed, right? And to have the courage to step up as a CSL victim, he's the first to really do so. First haemophiliac to recently do so in terms of the hepatitis C component of tainted blood. And then, of course, as he stepped up, Greg, you know, got liver cancer. That's part of the deal, unfortunately, tainted blood victims. So as we've done that, it's like shit. And I'm worried at that point that we're going to lose Greg. Firstly, because we know we'll lose him. So what's happened is, when Carla came around, ideally, Carla Bonner, when she came around, ideally, I actually wouldn't have asked her, because she's probably finding out that the story that may have been that her father died because of an unavoidable accident, maybe the information that maybe it wasn't the accident that she'd been led to believe, that there may have been a culture of recklessness, severe recklessness, that went on for years before her father was infected. It's just the truth that it was. It was the Wild West here. It is the truth. I invite people, by the way, to look at this timeline. We've just released it for the first time ever in Australia.
I saw that. Yeah. I'll put that up on my page tonight.
Yeah. Got attachments for those people who want fact checks. This is it, right? We did it to coincide with Carla's bravery. Thank you so much, Carla, for what you're doing for us. You'll bring attention. Thank you, Matt. You started it. Now and now you've given an audience to Greg, a CSL victim. So this is the thing. What's happened is we've been overwhelmed. We've got over 2,000 people. Even, you know, the other day we had 70 people rain down the forms, our support forms. Come and support us. Support a Royal Commission into Australia's contaminated blood scandal. Let's get answers for Carla Bonner. Let's find out if her father's death was the accident that she was told, or that was it due to this Wild West culture. go to that
Yep.
timeline yourselves.
I'll definitely put the timeline up after this because it shows exactly what happened through the years and how big a cover-up this has been, of course.
Missed opportunities. They were infecting people all the time. Carla's father might not have had to pass away if they had taken more, basically taken safety more seriously. So they're killing people for years. It's madness, right? It's just the truth. It is. So
it is, yeah. And I
Carla,
think the big prevalence of what's happening, because you said you had around 2,000 people signing up. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Once this really gets going.
From your audience, think about your audience. Can I just say also to your audience, can I just say, wow, absolutely incredible. And to those people that did sign up, I know that we've had a lot of victims in that 2000, right? Can I just say to you, please, thank you, first of all, for getting in contact with us, right? And please bear with us because actually we're a small team here and we've got cancer in our group, okay? And I've been a career veteran of the contaminated blood wars worldwide. I've got mates who are part of the Canadian action 30 years ago. In fact, my mentor was the famous tainted blood campaigner from Canada, James Krepner, who we lost 12 years ago. He was one of the originals, and I've been helping them fight it, and all around the world. I pretty much, that's what I've been up to all these years. And the reason we haven't got anywhere down here is because we've got the world's biggest blood plasma company, CSL, and they're also the world's largest.
They won't let anything get out there. That's it.
Yeah, and they're also the manufacturer of the coming COVID-19 vaccine that they're possibly going to be subjecting us all to. And by the way, if you want to have choice when it comes to that, support our form, fill in that form.
Yep.
And that's your best way to do that. We want options for people, especially after what we've been through. So I just want to go back to that point about Carla Bonner. Yep. Well, I've got to have consideration from her as being affected by this. Okay, that's then the fact. So for me, it's a difficult one because it's great that she has a profile that she does. That's my cause. But on the other hand, I also worry for her, right? And that's the first responsibility. Okay, so we have to for each other first, because we do after what we've been through. So for her to do this, ideally, I wouldn't have asked her to step up so soon for us. Ideally, right? But I've had to because Greg Ball, I've asked him to step up. In fact, what I'm asking for now is it can't be just one person. I mean, one of the instigators of the UK inquiry was a fabulous lady called Lynn Kelly, who I had the privilege of meeting, Lynn Kelly in Wales. And she said to me, the first thing she said to me almost was, you can't do this alone. And for so long, at times, I have had to do this alone, right? For one reason or other, people being pretty ill at times when I wasn't. So I fought with all this period. But now I want to say to victims, and there's a lot in your audience who've contacted me, we are going to get back to you. Please have faith.
100%.
We're going to have new voices now. I'm always going to be a supporter. I'm always going to be a supporter of this cause, but it's the right thing. Fresh faces, new people. Let's all take over the...
Let's put out a call out, because one thing that Carla mentioned, which was really prevalent, is if you've got a parent or a loved one that's had HIV, there's been a stigma involved with HIV and Hep C. Whoever's on here watching, if you've had a parent, you've had a loved one that's died from HIV or Hep C complications, don't feel any stigma or shame. Now is the time to step up and come and speak to us, because we will investigate it fully. And there's no shame. There's no shame at all, because everyone thought of those diseases as being sexually transmitted and this and that. But if you had a blood transfusion anytime in the 80s and early 90s, there's a big chance that this CSL tainted blood has been put through into the system. So don't worry, no shame, no fear, just step up and talk.
Don't have any shame for one big reason too, and it goes like this. Authorities haven't been honest with you. CSL have a duty of candour, and they've not been candid. They knew that that blood product that killed 1,400 haemophiliacs was contaminated. Have a look at the timeline. 1978. It came here years after it was in operation in the UK. And in 1974, in fact, you look at the timeline, they knew people were getting infected over there with this stuff, right? Lord David Owen, on Tuesday in the UK, there's going to be potentially explosive evidence. As a former health minister comes up in the UK and he says it is a cover-up. He's going to confirm that, and he's going to do it formally, and it is a cover-up in the UK. He's talking about this product factor rate and how they knew it was infecting people in the 70s. They should have been self-sufficient. They should have been doing lots of things like to make the blood supply safe. They didn't, because it seems that money was involved or something terrible. So I want to mention this too. So that's Tuesday. Okay, so it's all happening.
So we'll watch for that, and